540 ESPN.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. You see, KYJ, things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here.
I think you should see your oculars. Nothing wrong with my feet. I'm talking about your eyes.
I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this. You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, live Monday night, June 7, 2010. Damian Nelson here, coming to you from the Time Warner Cable studios of 540 ESPN in downtown Milwaukee, along with the Skull Crusher Rashi Brown of Ring of Honor Wrestling, the Cos Frank Cosentino, and David Octavius Hero. Gentlemen, an action-packed show tonight, to say the least. We've got two big-time guests.
Oh, I thought you meant what we just watched was action-packed.
We'll talk about that in a minute as Raw goes off the air, but our scheduled guest for this evening, coming up in just a few minutes, Jim Cornette. James E. Cornette, released from the basement of David Hero. We've cleared up that situation.
Somebody made it out.
We've cleared up that situation with TNA Wrestling as well. Jim Cornette will be joining us in just a few minutes, and just after that, Al Snow. Two controversial people who are not afraid to speak their minds. If you didn't know, I guess you better call somebody and let them know that the Pro Wrestling Report is live right now. And also debuting tonight on Blog Talk Radio. We are live on Blog Talk Radio, so we want to welcome everyone listening on there as well. So, gentlemen, before we get to Jim Cornette, let's talk about tonight's WWE Raw, and we must start where it finished. And as being discussed right now in the chatmosphere at pwrshow.com, Michael Toole says it was the best Raw ending in a very long time. D. Gerton88 says, best Raw ending I have seen in a long time. Wow. The NXT rookies from last season came in and destroyed WWE Raw, John Cena, and CM Punk tonight in what was an attitudinal kind of closing to the show. Frank Cosentino, your thoughts on that exciting end to WWE Raw?
That was different. Much different. And I kind of liked it in a way because I never saw that coming. It was different because there was no commentary for the last 10 minutes, if not more. I mean, they knocked them all out. But I liked it. It was different. And now we see how they build on this, because you had all 8 or 9 guys out there. And, you know, one or two of them has to come out of this with something, and we'll see what the WWE does.
David the Hero.
Why did anybody go after Michael Cole?
Michael Cole went back to the Michael Cole of old. He was in the 8th row by the time anybody got near him.
But you would think he would have been one of the first guys they would have gone after.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Maybe they did.
Maybe he's going to be the ringleader. Maybe he'll pull the Bischoff, and say he's the, the brains behind the whole thing.
Could be.
This has got some weight to it. David Hero, your thoughts?
Well, when you release as much talent as they have in the last 3 months, they got to replace it somehow. Mm-hmm. So all those guys just got jobs tonight.
And not as the ring crew.
Well, you know what? I think they're still on the ring crew. I mean, the way they were tearing it apart.
Yeah. Well, they were early, though. They might get in a little trouble for that. Rashi Brown, Skull Crusher Rashi Brown, your thoughts on the NXT guys, including a man you know very well, Bryan Danielson, getting the biggest moment tonight on WWE Raw.
Very different. I guess we have to see what everything's all about, but the whole thing, I understand and I like the concept, but then what was the whole NXT about? Did they all have jobs and they were competing to see who was the best rookie or not? Because obviously they all have jobs. So I'm a little confused with that part, but
does confusion spark curiosity? Curiosity for NXT tomorrow night, the launch of Season 2. Curiosity for SmackDown Friday. Curiosity for Raw next Monday night.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah.
Maybe not in this case.
I don't feel like dying.
Here's the thing.
What's the thing?
Which one of us here can name 6 of the 12.
That was the whole issue. That's
Peter
what
Gabriel,
we were watching.
right? Peter Gabriel. He's big time now.
Yeah, there you go.
Daniel Bryan, of course.
Or Brian Danielson. Pick your pick.
I know him and Wade Barrett.
Meathead.
See what I mean?
Yeah,
Wade
man.
Barrett.
That's the
David
problem.
Otunga.
I know.
That was one question that was asked here in the studio as we're watching. How many of those people in that audience in Miami, Florida, knew who those people were?
They might if they've been to some of the FCW shows.
Right.
They
But
might
it's
recognize them.
It's like character overload. You can't throw 8 new people at you at one time. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
But they did have Brian Danielson kind of do the big thing.
The ring leading part.
When you spit on John Cena, that's pretty big.
That was a sign. And continued discussion in the chatmosphere. Live chat at pwrshow.com. Night Kind says, I'm rewatching it. Stryker was kicked. Cole was still at the booth. When Lawler was hit, I saw dust and Cole's ass running for the hills. But overwhelmingly positive feedback. A lot of best ending in years. And finally, Houston Hindog, user at pwrshow.com, says the rest of the show was kind of dull. NXT saved a rather bad Raw. Gentlemen, I'm not sure that we would have thought that the opening piece of this show would be talking about NXT.
No, I had no idea we'd be talking about this when I came in. I'm like, this was kind of boring tonight. And then I get here and I'm like, what's on the TV? It's a big change in what we're talking about tonight for sure.
You know, we are going to be going to Jim Cornette in just a few minutes here on the program, but before we do that, I want to get to a couple of comments on our Twitter account. Our username on Twitter is PWR Show, and lots of feedback on there, but it had a feeling of realness to it.
Yes.
Did that ending tonight.
Yeah.
And WWE, when they want to, can deliver that stuff better than anyone.
It's important that there's no commentary to do that. You've seen it when, like, Shawn Michaels kicks Hulk Hogan, and then you don't hear anything, and the show goes off. This is something similar to that, where that adds another element to it. There's no commentary. Obviously, they got beaten up or ran like crazy. So it does give that realism to an effect. But now the really hard job, the good job is that we get to see what's going to happen tomorrow night.
Right.
Steve Austin just
you got the hook.
Sent out a note saying, well, that was interesting. A couple of comments from our followers on our Twitter account. Joey Holston says, Raw was awesome tonight, an 8 out of 10. Ty1822 says, worst Raw ever, but a great ending. Dwight Foote says, is NXT WWE's version of NWO. Ron Hot Dog 654 says, maybe next rookies left The Undertaker in a vegetative state. So a lot of discussion, lots of discussion to be had. Perhaps we'll ask our upcoming guest about this situation. I'm sure he probably will need it explained to him, as he probably didn't watch tonight, which is fine, because he's got a lot of other stuff going on. When we come back here on the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report, James E. Cornette, Jim Cornette, get your recorders ready, because this is one you certainly want to hear. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Hey, race fans, this is Speed Channel's Jim Trado. Join me and the racing crowd this Monday night at 7 for the Racing Roundup Show, live on 540 ESPN and live at Paulie's Pub and Eatery at 81st and Greenfield in West Dallas. Every Monday night for 90 minutes, the Racing Roundup Show keeps you up to speed on NASCAR, the Wisconsin racing scene, and a whole lot more. For 26 years and counting, the Racing Roundup Show is where local racers shine. They bring their race cars, sponsors, crew, and sometimes even their trophies. There's giveaways after the show, too. Join us this Monday night at 7 at Paulie's Pub and Eatery for the Racing Roundup Show.
Whatever your handicap, you'll score a hole-in-one for a great cause just by teeing off at the National Kidney Foundation of Wisconsin's Liberty Mutual Invitational Golf Tournament. Have fun on the fairway in the nation's premier amateur golf tournament at Westmore Country Club in Brookfield on Monday, June 21st. Four-person teams compete in a scramble format, and winners are invited to the national finals at the famed Pinehurst Golf Course. For more information, call 262-821-0705 or visit golfkidneywi.org.
Everything in nature needs moisture to stay healthy, including your eyes. When they're dry, it's nature's way of saying they need help. That lack of moisture can cause eye health issues. Help is here. Clear Eyes brand Tears formulas. There's a formula for mild, moderate, and severe dryness. Each Clear Eyes product bathes eyes with extra moisturizers that restore a healthy, moist environment for up to 8 hours of soothing comfort. Clear Eyes Tears formulas for eyes the way nature intended. Use as directed.
Think you're smarter than Rain Man? Make sure to catch the world-famous trivia contest with Homer every Thursday at 5 when D-List co-host and Channel 12 sports director Dan Needles takes on a lucky listener. Rain Man is brought to you by Sageniac Planning, Rocky Rococo, and Horny Goat Beer. All Rain Man contestants receive a free pizza from Rocky Rococo and a certificate for a 6-pack of beer. And anyone who beats Rain Man wins pizza and beer for a year. That's Rain Man every Thursday at 5 with Homer on 540 ESPN. Brought to you by Rocky Rococo, Horny Goat Beer, and Sageniac Planning.
Have you ever seen or heard those commercials offering an easy way out of debt? It could be for a debt settlement company. And before you pick up the phone, there are some things you need to find out up front. For instance, are they asking for huge upfront fees before any money goes to reducing your debt? When will they begin paying your creditors? Are they telling you to stop paying your credit card bills and collecting the money instead? That violates your credit agreement and could do severe damage to your credit rating. Fortunately, there is a difference. The member agencies of the National Foundation for Credit Counseling are nonprofit, community-based organizations that can help you sort out your options and get you out of debt. Our certified counselors work with you to find the right solution. If you're overwhelmed, legitimate credit counseling can make a big difference. Call the NFCC today at 800-388-2227 or visit debtadvice.org to find a nonprofit credit counseling agency near you. That's debtadvice.org. This has been a public service message from the NFCC.
We Energies brings you today's Power Replay.
And our A-list corner guest, John McLaughlin, where do you come down with Kobe? If he leads the Lakers to a title, does he enter that Jordan echelon yet, or is it going to take a while yet?
Time creates greatness. The Kobe's, he's getting there. Jordan obviously was there. LeBron isn't there yet, and he wimped out. And I'll tell you what, Oscar wouldn't have done that. Michael wouldn't have done that. Kobe wouldn't have done that. I've known players that have had tremendous numbers, but they didn't impact other people. Great ones impact other people.
Hi, I'm Warren Dugan, and I work in customer services at We Energies. Each day we work hard to make sure that your energy service is reliable and you get good value for your money. Our electricity network has once again been recognized as the best in the Midwest, and we're holding our operating costs at 2004 levels. That means your lights are on, there's heat in your home, and the price you're paying is below the national average. It's my job to help keep it that way.
We Energies, award-winning reliability at prices below the national average. This message was paid for by the stockholders of Wisconsin Energy.
Hi, I'm David Orrick, introducing the new Orrick XL Platinum Pilot with 360 steering. Turn left, turn right, turn on a dime. This is the ultimate in maneuverability, power, and lightweight design. Call now. You'll also get my Orrick handheld vac and new Orrick Speed Sweep, free with purchase. That's 3 great Orricks for the price of one. Call 1-877-ORRICK21. That's 1-877-ORECK21.
540 ESPN.
There you go.
Tremendous. Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com. Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, David Hero, and ROH's very own Skull Crusher Rashi Brown here in the downtown Milwaukee studios. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guest for the first time ever on this program, Jim Cornette. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report.
Guys, how are you? And hello to Rashi, and hello to Dave Hero, my hero.
Hey, Jim, how are you doing?
Hero.
What's up, bro?
The superhero.
That's right.
Hey, guys, I know we had a miscommunication last week. I was going to be on the program, but that Eastern time and Central time thing took over, and we didn't connect, but I'm glad to be here tonight.
Well, we are very glad to have you. We've wanted to have you on this program for a very long time, because you are a man who pulls no punches and says things the way you see them and quite frankly, mostly the way they are. So, Jim, I want to start this way. I want you to share with the wrestling world listening out there your thoughts on the current state of professional wrestling.
Oh my God!
We got time
on this program because oh my God, where do I start?
Do you want to take it league by league, or do you want to just
Well, here's the thing. Professional wrestling is an industry that's 100 years old. And unfortunately, now there's somebody doing professional wrestling better than the folks in professional wrestling are, and that's Dana White and the UFC.
Yep.
And that's why they just outdrew Vince McMahon on pay-per-view. They sold more pay-per-views than WrestleMania because it's this simple, and that's why I'm with Ring of Honor, and that's why it boils down to this. If you want to sell tickets to see people fight, you take two unique and different personalities, one that people are predisposed to like and one that people are predisposed to dislike, and manipulate them into a situation where they're going to have a confrontation and then have a fight and sell tickets to it. That's it. That's it.
You make it sound
That's
so simple.
the end of it. That's all there is. And the comedy writers that are employed by Vince McMahon and the blithering imbeciles that are employed by that, Southern Flower Dixie Carter can't get this because they feel it's all about them. It's not about the wrestlers. It's not about the athletes. It's not about the performers. It's about the creative and the marketing and the strategy and the sizzle instead of the steak. Yeah. And my God, I'm going to throw up a little in my mouth if I continue this line any further. But the point is, it's all about the stars and the wrestling and the wrestlers. And that's why I'm glad to be with the Ring of Honor, because that's where we leave the importance and the responsibility with the wrestlers and with the matches. And just as it was with Frank Gotch and George Hackenschmidt in Chicago in 1908, just like it was with Buddy Rogers and Pat O'Connor in Chicago in 1961. And just like it's going to be in Chicago on July 24th when Ring of Honor invades Chicago again in Chicago Ridge at the Frontier Fieldhouse. That's the root of all good in professional wrestling. Leave it in the ring with the wrestlers, and that's what Ring of Honor does, and Roshe can testify to that.
And Jim, you've been a part of WCW, WWE, TNA, now, of course, Ring of Honor.
I've been a part of everything. The alphabet soup, WCW, NWA, WWE, TNA, MOUSE. I've been a part of all of them.
But we saw, and as you talk about what professional wrestling is, we've seen all of those companies, just about all those companies, go towards a business model, which is, as you said earlier, of the marketing, the story, the Hollywood. Why is that? Why is it that wrestling companies nowadays, in general, think that that's the direction they need to go in? Is it a growth strategy, or is it just detachment from what the core business is?
Well, it's copying, because nobody can actually. Well, I won't say nobody can be original. Vince McMahon had great success over the past 20 years with his creative vision of wrestling, which was turning the NBA into the Harlem Globetrotters. And he had great success with that for a while. But while he had the great success, he was able to build that business into something that's so big that it can't fall down. Something that's so successful that it can't be put out of business. But everybody else that's tried professional wrestling, instead of providing an alternative, instead of providing something different, instead of going back to the roots of wrestling, which is just what I said, two guys having a fight and let's see who's going to win, they got to chase Vince. And unfortunately, nobody can do it as well, and nobody can do it with the budget. And so as a result, what we have is we've degenerated into comedy, and we've degenerated into for lack of a better term, a vaudeville approach to wrestling where people will watch it for free on television, but nobody will pay to see the resolution of the conflicts because nobody makes the emotional investment, because nobody believes it, because it's so contrived and ridiculous. And it's very simple, and that's why I'm proud to be with Ring of Honor, because what Ring of Honor does is say, we are professional wrestling. Here are our wrestlers. They're going to talk and they're going to wrestle, and they're going to let you know who they are, and then they're going to fight, and we want you to be interested in who wins. It's not that complicated. But, wrestlers, pro wrestlers to TNA and WWE, the big companies these days, are disposable commodities that they can promote for a while, and if they don't catch on, they can dispose of. And if they do catch on, they can dispose of in 2 or 3 or 5 years when they've outlived their usefulness. I know you guys are based in Milwaukee. the Crusher was a star for 30 years.
Yes.
Because the Crusher did not do what people told him to do. He did not play a part. He was not a character. He did not perform scenarios. He went out and he was the Crusher, and what did he do? He beat people up.
Yeah. Yep.
And he sold out Milwaukee and other places all over the Midwest and the world for 30 years. Now you've got a situation where if a guy in professional wrestling now at the mercy of Vince McMahon or, God forbid, Vince Russo and Dixie Carter
the B word.
don't catch on and sell tickets in 6 months, they throw them away and they get somebody else because it's taken out of the wrestlers' hands. And the promoters who used to be wrestlers are gone away. So now it is, it's easy to be a wrestler, but it's hard to be one of these creative guys, and it's hard to have a degree in comedy writing, and it's hard to be a promoter, so we'll find some more of these wrestler fellas, and it's ridiculous. Where would the NFL be now if they said, oh, anybody can be a football player, but boy, it's really hard coming up with these plays.
They'd be the XFL.
Exactly. So, that's the whole thing with Ring of Honor and why they've caught on in Chicago, why they've caught on in New York and Toronto, coming up the Internet pay-per-view, Death Before Dishonor 8th on June 19th, where everybody in the world with computer access is going to have an opportunity to see the best in-ring product in the business today. Log on to Go Fight Live, by the way, gofightlive.tv, and you can find out how to order for only $14.95. We don't jack people for $50 like Vince McMahon does. That's the thing. Professional wrestling has gone underground where only the fans have access to it. We may not be on national television. We may not be on ice cream bars and on billboards, but the fans of professional wrestling who want to see guys who are great athletes, who can settle things in a ring, who can pound the piss out of each other and laugh about it afterwards and talk trash, just like the UFC guys do.
Right.
They've all gone to Ring of Honor. And now you got the over-the-hill gang in TNA and the homogenized and pasteurized and sanitized for your protection like the wrapper on the toilet seat at the Super 8. They're working for the WWE. But if you want to see the real stuff, you go to Ring of Honor. That's all I'm saying.
We're talking with James E. Cornette, 540 ESPN, Pro Wrestling Report. Jim, talk about the role of the manager. It seems like the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years, all organizations have kind of steered away from that. What has happened? Why did the role of the manager basically go away?
Well, once again, Vince McMahon does not see the manager as being useful, and when the industry leader does not put the manager or put anybody out in a prominent role, then all the followers like TNA who just copy what Vince does, what they do is they follow suit. And, the greatest athletes in the world are not necessarily the greatest spokesmen.
Right.
Don King didn't get in the ring and fight any of those fellows that Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and George Foreman and et cetera did. But Don King was a great promoter and a great mouthpiece.
Right.
And the role of the manager has always been to take a great athlete who's a once-in-a-lifetime commodity, who can sell tickets but is not necessarily the greatest spokesman, and turn around and take those guys and expose them to a different audience and talk of their fights up and get them over. That's what the manager did. And Vince McMahon then decided about 10 or 12 years ago, well, managers have to look good in a bikini. Immediately that disqualified me and Paul Bearer.
Wait, no, Paul Bearer, then you.
Yeah, I may look better in a thong than Paul does, but at any rate, so once again, Ring of Honor, you've got great managers like Prince Nana and Shane Hagedorn and now Truth Martini, who's a son of the Midwest himself there. You've got great wrestlers in Ring of Honor. You've also got great managers. It's really the only place to go to see the old flavor of professional wrestling for all those fans that that are either disenfranchised or just have given up on professional wrestling because what they see on the national television networks is more of a comedy show.
Right. And I would venture to say, to the point of the managers, aside from the ones you mentioned in Ring of Honor, I think on a WWE or TNA side scale, the last 3 good ones or great ones we saw were Paul Heyman with Brock Lesnar, Armando Estrada with Umaga, and James Mitchell with whoever.
Well, I think you're exactly correct. And, Paul and I have a storied history, but I've always said he was a great manager.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, the male manager has not been given the opportunity, the platform to shine over the past decade as they were in previous years. And I really don't understand why Vince McMahon thinks this way, because he grew up on guys like Bobby Davis and Wild Red Berry, and later on the Grand Wizard and Fred Blassie and Lou Albano.
Right.
But he has transformed his business. All he's interested in is making marketable commodities that can sell movies and ice cream bars. What a combination.
Right.
And so as a result, that role has fallen by the wayside. Tag team wrestling is in the same pickle.
Mm-hmm.
Vince believes that you should make individual stars instead of tag team stars. In the old days, tag teams, partners went from territory to territory and were together for 5 or 10 or 15 years. And now, as a result of individual contracts, the wrestlers have no say in who they're partnered with or who they travel with.
Yep.
Once again, except in Ring of Honor.
Exactly.
Let me just make this mention: the Kings of Wrestling, Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli, Mark and Jay Briscoe, the Briscoe brothers, Rhett Titus and Kenny King, the All Night Express, the Dark City Fight Club, John Davis and Corey Chavis. I hate to sound like a parrot and like I'm selling this product, like Vince and Slapchop. But, over and over, the things that people most associate with professional wrestling can now only be found in Ring of Honor. Managers, tag teams.
Women.
Women.
Legitimate women wrestlers.
Legitimate women athletes, not the pillow fight, mud wrestling of the WWE divas, but legitimate women athletes.
Big ugly guys, Necro Butcher.
Exactly.
Chunky
if
guys.
you're fat and ugly, you got no chance in the WWE. That would have excluded Dusty Rhodes and Abdullah the Butcher,
Yep.
the biggest stars that have ever been in professional wrestling.
Yep.
Jim, earlier on you mentioned territories, and obviously Smoky Mountain Wrestling, one of those territories that you ran for quite a while. What happened to the wrestling territory, aside from Vince McMahon's monopolization of the business and WWE's monopolization of the business back in the 80s, but even you see a lot of these stronger independents around the country have gone away, and one would venture to say that the flow of talent upwards to Ring of Honor, TNA, WWE has also been cut off.
Well, exactly, because the territories were the reason why. We could talk about this for an hour, but the territories were the birthplace of talent, because if a guy started his career, he would jerk the curtain in Kansas City, and then he might move to Tampa, Florida, where he would get a chance to be in the second and third match, and then he might move to the Midwest, Chicago, Minneapolis, where he'd get a chance in the middle of the card, and finally he'd be main eventing in the Carolinas. But now, unfortunately, the business is so constricted that guys really go from the independent straight to national television without having a lot of experience. There's no place to get the experience, and as a result, they're not ready sometimes for the push that they're given. It's just like if you went from, not even high school basketball to the NBA, but if you went from a playground pickup game to the NBA.
And the other thing, Mr. Cornette, is the big company. They're not even looking for guys that have been established for a while on the independent circuit. They're going to recruit football players that didn't get drafted to the NFL or Division III colleges with good bodies. And it's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. A good body does not sell tickets.
Oh, well, and in a lot of cases, thanks to John Laurinaitis, the wizard that's currently in charge of talent relations in the WWE, they're not even going after athletes. They're going after lingerie models and the women and bodybuilders and guys who just look good in the men, and they think they can teach them how to wrestle because they have so little respect for professional wrestlers and what they do and how much they have to work and what talent it takes to become a great professional wrestler, that they think they can find somebody that's 6'4" and 250 pounds and has never seen a wrestling match in their life.
Right.
In 6 months, they can teach them how to be wrestlers. I've gone through, I invented the developmental program for the WWE, and the reason I'm no longer affiliated with it is because of this mindset they have.
Right.
There's a lot more great lawyers than there are great wrestlers, and it takes at least 4 years to become a lawyer, and they think they can train wrestlers in 6 months.
Right.
And I wouldn't be a part of that, and I wouldn't go along with it. Because it's simple. You need experience. You need to grow up. They find people who look good and who can fit the funny suit, and then they
Right.
tell them who they are, rather than letting the guys establish themselves, be trained, get experience, and find out who they are on their own. It's a very different principle, and I just can't. I can't bless that with my
Right.
With my acquiescence.
So, Jim, when you got the phone call from Johnny Ace and he said, "Hey, Jim, I just hired 2 girls out of a bikini catalog. I'm sending them down to Louisville," what was your thought on that?
Oh my God! That's actually, people think you're ribbing, right?
No. We just wanted to verify that he wasn't.
That's actually the truth. And one of them, was hitting the ropes and passed out. She was just running back and forth in the ring and passed out. He was flipping through. This is how, not only how totally removed John Laurinaitis is from anything remotely resembling intelligence in professional wrestling, but also how sexually frustrated he is. He was flipping through a lingerie catalog and hired 2 19-year-olds with agents already. 19-year-olds with agents.
Agents.
And sent them down to Louisville to train them to become professional wrestlers. And, it was not a pretty sight.
They won't hire ODB, but they'll get 2 girls out of the lingerie catalog.
Hey, John Laurinaitis is the guy famous in the wrestling profession for hiring the wrong one-legged guy. You've heard that story, haven't you?
No.
Oh, Zach Gowen, the one-legged wrestler.
Yep.
There's only one. Actually, there's 2, but there was only one famous one.
He's going to be here in Wisconsin soon.
Paul Heyman told Vince McMahon, you got to hire this Zach Gowen. And a one-legged wrestler, I mean, literally the one-legged man in the butt-kicking contest is just ridiculous to me anyway, but that's Paul's mindset. But at least the guy knew what he was doing and had somewhat of a name and had been trained. Laurinaitis is put in charge of hiring the one-legged wrestler, since he has no idea of what's going on in the wrestling world outside of the WWE, he, of course, calls his friend Steve Kern, who recommends, I got the one-legged guy. He's training down here. Of course, the one-legged guy he was training down there was like 35 years old and 240 pounds and nowhere near as talented as Zach Gowen. And they signed the wrong one-legged guy. There's only 2 in the world, and Laurinaitis was smart enough to sign the wrong one. It cost him like $75,000 to buy him out of his contract.
Wow.
I've heard from eyewitnesses on the plane when Laurinaitis was told that he signed the wrong one-legged guy and would not admit it, because also he's a liar and a backstabber. But we could go on about that for ages.
10-4, good buddy.
Jim Cornette, we're getting a couple of questions from our fans out there on Twitter. One is, and this one is unique. This comes from a person by the name of Big Dog John, who says, "Why can't someone like me be a fan of WWE, TNA, and ROH? Am I a bad wrestling fan to you?"
No, the wrestling fans. There are. I wouldn't say there are no bad wrestling fans. There's a few I'd like to snatch. But no, the wrestling fans are the ones who are the victims in all this, because the wrestling fans are the ones. I get emails from them constantly at my website, JimCornette.com, folks. Shameless plug.
And that's where you can also get that Midnight Express 25th anniversary scrapbook.
Bam, there you go. But I get emails from them all the time. Especially overseas, Jim, the only thing we get is WWE. Or we can't get Ring of Honor because we don't have HDNet on our cable system. Or, we've tried to watch TNA because we want an alternative, but they make it so difficult for us. The wrestling fans are the victims in this because Vince McMahon and his company are so cocky and arrogant, sitting on top of the mountain, that they feel like they can just give the wrestling fans whatever product that they want to give them, and they have no choice in taking it. TNA is, once again, basically hopeless because, the little Southern flower, Dixie Carter, who's spending her father's Texas oil money. I mean, I couldn't make this stuff up if I was trying. She's entrusted a complete moron. A guy who, if it was raining soup, would be out in the yard with a fork, who has no respect for wrestling or the people involved in it. The creative direction of her program. So the fans are out there saying, we've just turned away. Why do you think that the UFC, that MMA is so popular now? That why did their last pay-per-view outdraw WrestleMania? Because they are giving the fans what professional wrestling used to give them. And the real or manipulated or choreographed argument is not even an issue here. The issue is, for your older fans, when the Crusher faced Mad Dog Vachon at the Milwaukee Arena, it was going to be a fight, and they wanted to see who won.
Mm-hmm.
For the more recent fans, when the NWA would come to Milwaukee, and Ric Flair was going to take on Dusty Rhodes or Nikita Koloff or Magnum TA, it was going to be a fight, and the fans wanted to see who won.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's all about the promoters either using 60-year-old guys who are living on their names and their reputations, or these young guys that will do exactly what they're told and fall in line, and it's 20 minutes of talking about it and 5 minutes of actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, once again, Ring of Honor has found a niche, because it's more like 5 minutes of talking about it and 20 minutes of doing it. And that's what we're paying for, folks. I'm a wrestling fan just like you are.
Yep.
And that's what you pay for. You don't pay to see two guys on the side of the road have a fender bender and get out and yell at each other for 20 minutes. You pay basically to see them settle it one way or the other.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Our guest right now is Jim Cornette. Jim, we're actually going to take a time out and come back and finish talking to you. We're going to talk about some specific people and some specific things, including your trip to Dairy Queen.
I love specifics.
We'll be back in a moment. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
For the latest interviews, blogs, contests, and more, log on today to the all-new ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Johnson, Human Resources Manager, and I can tell you, as a leading tech company, we naturally use the web to find talent. My job is to find the brightest tech candidates. Dice.com has the most qualified and talented candidates out there. Because Dice focuses on technology and engineering, I save a lot of time and trouble sifting through thousands of resumes from sites that aren't relevant to our business. Usually we're looking for experienced software and hardware engineers, DBAs, storage engineers, project managers. We found over half our key hires through Dice.
Dice is the #1 online technology job board. For over 17 years, Dice has focused exclusively on tech jobs. Post your open technology positions on Dice to access the best tech talent, or search through thousands of resumes from qualified engineering and tech professionals from all across the country. Visit Dice.com. Dice.com.
If you like your sports amped up and high octane, then Chicagoland Speedway is the place for you this summer. Catch racing's biggest stars as they light up the summer sky July 9th and 10th when NASCAR storms back into town. NASCAR weekend packages are available now, so call 888-629-RACE or visit ChicagolandSpeedway.com today, because tickets, like the racing on the track, are moving fast. Your weekend begins on Friday night, July 9th, with the Dollar General 300 powered by Coca-Cola, featuring Danica Patrick in her Chicagoland stock car debut. The NASCAR Sprint Cup boys close out the weekend with the LifeLock.com 400 on Saturday night. So get in on the sports experience that won't let you down. Call 888-629-RACE or visit ChicagolandSpeedway.com. And be sure to ask about our payment plan.
Checkered flag is out. Mark Martin wins the LifeLock.com 400.
Chicagoland Speedway. My kind of track.
You can learn a lot about a car company just by listening to its cars. How solid it is. How efficiently it runs. How well it drives years down the road.
One car company puts its quality out there every day for everyone to hear. General Motors. Because we know building quality cars is the most important thing we can do. That's why we back our cars with the best coverage in America. The 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Fully transferable limited powertrain coverage for up to 5 years or 100,000 miles. Plus, roadside assistance and courtesy transportation on most cars and light-duty trucks we sell. Confidence you can trust in a car you'll absolutely love. Want to know the kind of company GM really is? All you have to do is listen. We let our cars do the talking. To hear more about General Motors and the kinds of cars we build, visit gm.com. 5 years, 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. See dealer for warranty details.
Skeptics say that it's not the best time to build, but this may really be the best time to invest in your business. History shows that in times like this, fortunes are made by those who prepared for the next economic rebound. If your business needs a new building, General Steel Corporation can literally save you thousands of dollars without ever cutting quality. Now may be the time to stop paying rent and own your facility. Perhaps you need a building that fits your needs more efficiently and allows you to streamline operations. The General can help. We'll work with you to design the right building at the right price. A pre-engineered steel building that could save you as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction, as much as half. All backed by their 50-year structural warranty. Call 877-93-STEEL. The General has helped thousands of businesses and churches own their own building and build equity. For free information, call 877-93-STEEL. Ask about rebates that could save you up to $20,000.
A young African man saw the misery around him, and he grew angry. He asked his minister why people had to suffer. He cried, "Why doesn't God do something?" "He has," his pastor said. "He created you." That's how Desmond Tutu, later Archbishop of South Africa, became the answer to his own question. He also became the first black African to lead South Africa's Anglican Church, and he helped end his country's apartheid. This is Howard Butt Jr. of Laity Lodge. Like it did for Archbishop Tutu, a call comes to a person where he is in the things that stir his passions. What problems face you and others? How can you be an answer? It's the high calling of our daily work.
For more information, visit ourdailywork.org.
Get in the ring Monday nights after Raw. It's the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
You never go wrong with this music. Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com. Our guest tonight, our first of two guests, Jim Cornette, joining us on the phone. Jim,
Well, now, I'm the first, but who's the second?
Al Snow.
Well, tell Al Snow I said hello.
It's the Louisville connection tonight.
Indeed. Indeed it is. Well, Jim, you've been great so far, and Rossi Brown actually had a question that's been bugging him for years.
I've been great so far, but it's headed downhill from
here. All right, Jim, this is Rashi. Now, I have a question I wanted to ask you, but I might as well ask you on the radio because then I'm smart if I'm correct. Your character is Mr. Jim Cornette with the tennis racket and your whole attitude. Can you tell us where that comes from? I can tell you my guess first, and then if I'm right, I'm right. If not, whatever, we get a good story.
Tell me your guess.
All right. As a kid, I used to watch roller derby, and there was a woman, Miss Georgia Haas. Yeah. She was great. I mean, I was mesmerized by her when I was 5 and 6 and 7. Her and Frankie Valadez and the whole angle. And when I started watching you guys when I was a kid, you reminded me of her so much.
Well, I tell you, if I did it, truthfully, it was unintentional. I was a big roller derby fan when I was a kid, and I mean, we could talk about, Ann Cavello and Joni Weston and that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. Sally Vega and I mean, just the roller derby, the roller games fascinated me. But actually, this is where so many wrestlers and so many promoters go wrong. What I hate the word character. You play this character. What is your character?
Yeah.
To me, there is no such thing as a character in professional wrestling, because when I look at the guys who have made the biggest amount of money, Nature Boy Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, even Mick Foley. I mean, we could go on and on. Dick Murdoch, Dusty Rhodes, The American Dream. These guys they didn't play characters.
Right.
What they were themselves. Nature Boy Ric Flair, I can tell you for a fact, I've traveled with him. I've worked with him. I've spent time with him. Ric Flair is Ric Flair. Steve Austin was Steve Austin. Dick Murdoch was Dick Murdoch. As a matter of fact, Dick Murdoch on television was toned down from Dick Murdoch in person. Vern Gagne. We could talk about Billy Robinson. I'm going back to the old AWA folks. These guys didn't play characters. They were themselves with the volume turned up. And I took that, and being around these guys for the past 30, 35 years, being around these guys, I realized that you can never be successful playing a part, playing someone that you're not. So if you are who you are, and maybe you just turn the volume up a little bit, or if you want people to dislike you, then you bring out the things that people might dislike, or if you want people to like you, then you accentuate the things that people might like, but you're yourself. Otherwise, not only have you fallen into the promoter's trap of playing a part that they can fill without you, but at the same time you've shown the viewers that you're playing a part you're phony. Right. And the one thing that people do not respond well to or pay to see is phony people playing a part, unless you're going to the movies, and then you accept that. So really, Jim Cornette came from Jim Cornette, and I hate to admit that because some people might say, "Oh, geez, what a sphincter he is."
Jim Cornette, mark out moment of the night, I guess I'd have to say. I went to WrestleMania 12 out in Anaheim, California, and I was young and cheap, didn't have money. Took a Greyhound bus, took 3 days. On that bus, I carried with me my tennis racket. Because I thought I could bring it in and hold it up and, show my support for Jim Cornette.
You know what? If I wasn't so nearsighted and I was wearing my glasses, I probably would have given you a thumbs up. But, but actually, that's one of the reasons why when I got in the business, I wasn't nervous even in front of big crowds, because without my glasses on, I couldn't see past the fourth row. There was 20,000 people there I didn't know. I saw 300.
Yeah, I'm sure there's not much more to it than what we've seen on YouTube, and I'm sure you've seen it. But this Dairy Queen drive-thru,
that has been following me for 15 years, and actually, and Chris Jericho, of course, in his book, which was actually one of the better wrestling books and very humorous, and I love Chris Jericho to death, but he took credit for shooting it. He did not run the camera. He was only the instigator. He was the disturber in the back seat.
Well, it didn't take much. You must have been hungry.
Well, what it was, and see, you don't see the lead up to this thing. Here we were in Hyden, Kentucky, in Smoky Mountain Wrestling after an event. The only place to eat after 9 o'clock at night in Hyden, Kentucky was Dairy Queen at the drive-thru. And we were in this drive-thru after we ordered at the window, talking into the clown's mouth or whatever. We were in the drive-thru for 20 minutes till we finally got up to the window, and because 8 hungry wrestlers, we had ordered a lot of food. And, of course, Jericho's on a diet, so he wants the banana split without the ice cream, just the fruit. I don't know what he's ordering. And we get up there, and as we're paying, I'm in the driver's, I'm in the passenger seat in the front, and there's like 6 guys in the back, and my good friend Brian Hildebrand, Mark Curtis, the referee, was driving, I believe, and a friend of ours was running the video camera, but Jericho was back there stirring the pot. We hand the money in, and I said, as long as we've been in the line, offhandedly I make the remark, soon to regret it. As long as we've been in this line, I figured you guys would have this ready by now. And the woman said,
yeah, just like that,
too. The woman said, well, we'll start fixing it. We didn't know for sure you wanted it. Like there was this traveling band of practical jokers that were going around all these fast food places in eastern Kentucky at 10:30 at night on a weekend, ordering these rib orders that they then would jet off and not pay for. And I said, didn't want it. We wouldn't have ordered it if we didn't want it. And I've used a few other words. And she said, don't cuss me or you won't get a damn thing. And
I think that's when you got out of the car.
It escalated from there. Let's just say it escalated from there. But I was a victim of circumstance.
Very entertaining, though, and I watch it regularly. But, we talk about favorite Jim Cornette moments.
Boy, you must have a sad life.
Yeah, I do. Hey, have you ever met Cody Rhodes?
Cody, yeah, as a matter of fact, I met him, I think, for the first time when he was like 5 years old. When we were working for Jim Crockett Promotions in the Carolinas, Dusty, of course, we all lived in Charlotte, and I'd met Dustin, holy mackerel, when he was very young.
Yeah.
And Cody was just a little toddler at the time. He was probably still pooping himself. And, he's grown up into a fine young man.
Jim Cornette, we are just running out of time. If we can get a few more minutes out of you, if you've got the time after the Sports Center update, that'd be tremendous.
Well, I guess a couple more minutes just for you guys, but it's going on midnight here in Louisville, and the senior citizens have to get to bed at some point.
Well, and his wife is waiting for him, too. Let's not forget that.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Winner of the 2009 Best Broadcast Professional Wrestling Radio Show, Damian Nelson, sitting alongside the Cos, Frank Cosentino, David Octavius Hero, and ROH's very own Rashi Brown, the Skull Crusher. Our guest on the phone right now, Jim Cornette.
Now, wait a minute. Dave Hero, what is your middle name?
No. It is not Octavius.
D-O-H.
Jim Cornette, welcome back. Thank you for a little bit of extended time with us. What we really wanted to do...
Al Snow is going to be pissed at me.
We're going to put all the heat on you.
Of course, I get all the blame for everything.
We want to talk about our favorite Jim Cornette moments, if you will, and I'll start with one of my two. And we talked about, me taking the racket to Mania like a mark, and I'm not afraid to admit I'm a mark, but it was also back in the WCW NWO days, the white blood-stained jacket.
Not the NWO now, but the NWA.
NWA, yes.
Don't put the NWO
Sorry
on.
about that.
I don't want that stink on me. That's
How many months... Paul Heyman had hit you upside the head with the cordless phone, and you carried around that white bloody jacket for, it seemed like, years.
It was only because you were so young. It was more like weeks. But actually, I have that hanging in my office.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a reminder. One of these days, I'm going to see Heyman again. I'm going to put my fist right down his throat. I'm going to put it so far down his throat it'd have to clear customs to come back out.
Well, Jim, one of my favorite Jim Cornette moments was actually with Cousin Jack in South Beach. It was like 125 degrees at that indie show we did.
Oh, yeah. Well, now, it wasn't actually just any old indie show. It was the opening of the Miccosukee
Casino.
Indian Casino and Convention Center. And your cousin Jack kindly called me up to book some talent for it, and we brought a bunch of WWE guys down on WWF back then, before they lost the fight with the Panda. On on the wrong day, and we all had a great time, except it was about 120 degrees. But I remember it was lovely at the pool at the hotel.
Oh, the pool was lovely. Yeah,
pool
absolutely.
was lovely.
International Incident 1996. You and Jose Lothario got into it. They're showing a replay of you trying to attack Lothario, and you're doing the voiceover on it or talking over it. And everything you're saying, it's classic Jim Cornette, everything you're saying is completely opposite of what's being shown on the video clip. There you see Jose pulled a switchblade on me. He tried to cut me.
Well, see, here's the thing. The camera angle only showed one angle, one story. I had the straight story in the ring as it happened, and I still maintain that I can whip any 65-year-old man.
Certainly
unfortunately, Jose was only 63 at the time. So.
Jim, one of my favorite Jim Cornette moments was the whole, this is me as a kid again, the Dynamic Dudes Midnight Express angle. When you finally turned on the Dynamic Dudes, I jumped out of my seat. I was so happy, man. At that point in my life, it was like the switch from liking the good guys to liking the bad guys. And I'm happy I didn't lose you, my friend.
Well, you see, that was the problem, because one of the dynamic dudes, the other one was Shane Douglas,
yes.
but one of the dynamic dudes was John Laurinaitis, good old Johnny Ace.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it started.
And we miscalculated. We tried to pull the most heinous act that had ever been pulled in professional wrestling and stab these guys in the back and just get everybody in the world mad if we didn't realize the extent.
Was there a fireball?
To which the wrestling fans would. I just whacked him in the back of the head with a loaded tennis racket.
The loaded tennis racket.
Well, I didn't say loaded. What I said was the whacked him in the back of the head with the lauded.
You got a baby face pop for that, didn't you?
Well, yes, we did, because what we underestimated was the fact that John Laurinaitis, Johnny Ace, was so dislikable even 20 years ago that when you stabbed him in the back, the people would cheer like Truman had just won the election, and it really. It kind of backfired on us because it made us more popular
yes,
and more hated. That's not what we were going for. But later on, we discovered that John Laurinaitis could have turned Genghis Khan good guy.
Jim Cornette, one question we're getting from our Twitter account. Are you on Twitter, by the way?
I don't Twitter or twatter or any of those things. Actually, I learned to send an email last year when I got my website put up.
JimCornette.com.
I've actually spent 30 years trying to hide everything I was doing from the public, not advertising.
User by the name of MadMatt3788 sends a question, and I'll modify it a bit. Right now, if you had to pick best wrestler in WWE, who is it?
It's unfair for me to say because I've been clean and sober from WWE programming for like 6 years now. It's a 12-step program. And really, my blood pressure, once I got on the medication, the doctor said, don't watch the WWE. But, they do have, once again, the WWE has a lot of talented athletes, as does TNA. It's just their leadership that prevents them from achieving what they would achieve under their own principles. And, that's to me, the wrestling people do not run the wrestling organizations anymore. In every other professional sport, you have to be an expert in that particular sport in order to be an administrator, whereas in wrestling, it's almost a detriment if you have wrestling experience.
Yep.
In TNA, Vince Russo would bring Joran Vandersloot in and make him the TNA World Champion, just because he thinks that it would somehow get him mainstream publicity. Gary Coleman's ex-wife would be the women's champion. So I don't want to single anybody out for being the best in WWE because there's a lot of great young talent I'm not familiar with. Even though I will say that we're here in Ohio Valley Wrestling in Louisville, we trained John Cena and Randy Orton, who's a tremendous talent, and so many other of the guys that are on the on the main roster now. But at the same time, for reasons we talked about earlier, the young guys coming up, you don't get a true picture of them because they're being forced to play a part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I've always prided myself on, whether it be Ohio Valley Wrestling, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, the old NWA, any promotion that I've really ever been involved with except for that 3 years I'm trying to put out of my mind right now with TNA. The wrestling people were in charge and the wrestlers were the product that was being sold, not script writers and comedy writers and mainstream people who have no. Well, Bill Watts gave me this quote one time. He was talking about me, but it fits the subject. If Vince Russo was ever going to men's locker room, he'd be whistling "Stranger in Paradise." There's so many people now involved in wrestling and marketing and merchandising and et cetera that it's really taken the attention away from the wrestlers, and I think that's a step in the wrong direction.
Mr. Cornette, one thing, or in my opinion, with them hiring writers to script or write something for us that aren't part of our business, it's kind of a slap in the face, in my opinion. And also, do you think that the WWE, they're more of a mark for Hollywood, and they want to be associated with Hollywood, so they hire these Hollywood writers so they feel like they're mingling with Hollywood. But at the same time, I think it's like the out-of-work Hollywood writers are saying, hey, you need a job, go work for WWE. They're hiring. Do you feel it's that way?
Exactly. Kevin Dunn, the executive producer of WWE Television, the little hatchet-headed Bucky Beaver-toothed little moron that he is, He wants to win an Emmy one day, and Vince McMahon thinks, this is the Raw is the longest running action adventure program in television history. Gunsmoke would have a problem with that. They're more like I Love Lucy, in my opinion. Yeah. But once again, yes, you've hit the nail on the head. They want to be something they're not. They're ashamed of being involved in the professional wrestling industry. They want to be big-time television producers and writers, and they're branching out into movies now. But they ignore what brought them to the dance. Leave with the girl what brung you, or whatever is the old saying.
But here's the thing, though, Jim. Their fans, for the most part, are going to follow whatever direction they take them in.
Not every fan.
In general.
That's why. Look at the Monday Night Wars of 10 years ago when
not
wrestling
the most recent
was hot. The ratings for the WWE are now down 50% from what they were then. Plus, WCW had ratings on top of them.
Yep.
We've gone from 10 million people on Monday nights to 4 million people on Monday nights because a lot of fans have become disenfranchised. And they've just gone away because of the Hollywood nature of things. And, that's my opinion, and people will disagree with it, but they can disagree all they want because, meanwhile, Dana White's kicking everybody's ass.
Yep. Jim,
so there you have it.
Jim, real quick question. What's the one thing that you tell the up-and-coming wrestlers in ROH that you see that you just brand into them so they don't forget, the ones that want to take this to the next level or continue and go as long as possible? What's the one thing you keep telling them to do?
The one thing that I've told the guys in the 6 or 7 months that I've been back in Ring of Honor is be yourself, but be yourself and be interesting. Don't be yourself and be boring. Be yourself and be interesting. You're in the you business. You are your product. You stock your shelves. You sell yourself. You need to get you over, but you can't do that by being boring. So be yourself, but be an interesting version of yourself, and you can never go wrong.
Jim Cornette, our fans in the chat room at pwrshow.com are they're asking for a Jim Cornette special 2-hour show.
We've almost got there.
Almost. Jim, you've been a great guest, and we want to make sure we give everybody the appropriate information. Visit JimCornette.com. Cornette's commentaries. You can ask Jim Cornette questions. You can purchase that Midnight Express 25th Anniversary scrapbook. And as you said...
Videotapes as well. Got some great videotapes. My rookie year, some Midnight Express Lost Classics, all that kind of stuff at JimCornette.com. And don't forget, June 19th, live from Toronto, Canada, Death Before Dishonor 8, the next Ring of Honor Internet pay-per-view. We're bringing it to the masses all over the world, anybody with Internet access. Tyler Black and Davey Richards for the world title, the Kings of Wrestling and the Briscoes for the tag team title, Christopher Daniels against Kenny Omega, Kevin Steen against El Generico, and more. Don't miss it if you can.
GoFightLive.tv, I believe, is the place to see that. And, Jim, we didn't even get to Santino Marella, Vince Russo, all that stuff. We got to have you on again.
Oh, well, we're going to have to do a sequel.
Part 2.
Jim Cornette, thank you very much for joining us and taking some of those fan questions and obviously our questions as well. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
What does everybody need?
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com, PWRShow.com, and our debut tonight on Blog Talk Radio. We're on our way to dominating that as well, as we are voted the best professional wrestling broadcast radio show in the world today. Damian Nelson sitting next to the Cos, Frank Costantino, David Octavius Hero, and Ring of Honor's very own Skull Crusher, Rache.
What it be like, baby?
Coming off the heels of our discussion, which went just over an hour with James E. Cornette.
Felt like 2 minutes.
Our next guest is a favorite here of the Pro Wrestling Report. He's going to be in town again this Friday night. Welcome, Al Snow, back to the Pro Wrestling Report.
Howdy, guys.
Al, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Tremendous.
We got to keep in mind it's the Eastern time zone again.
Oh,
you sleepy, Al?
Sorry about that.
Well, my mom let me stay up late tonight.
Cool. Well, Al, you're going to be, you're actually in Joliet and Hammond, I believe, this past weekend, and going to be coming back to Milwaukee this Friday night, June 11th at the Italian Community Center. and going to be headlining that show, I believe, with Jay Lethal.
That's right, yeah. And, since Jay has so many personalities, much like I do, I figure, he's got enough and I've got enough. Why don't we make it a 6-man tag or something? Bring the Battle Royal.
So what you're saying is Avatar, Leif Cassidy, and Al Snow.
Well, let's make it a 9-man and add Herschel Walker.
Well, actually, it could be Al Snow, Leif Cassidy, Avatar, Shinobi, Steve Gordon. I think I could outdo him. I could actually gang rape Jay Lethal.
Hey now.
And then, of course, you're going to bring with you the mayor of Peoria, Dennis. Correct?
The mayor of Joliet. He was the mayor of Joliet. I'm sorry. He was right.
Oh, that's right. Joliet.
Yeah, I am Dennis Ladenbach's campaign manager for mayor. Dennis has a lot of plans. I'm sure public transportation for Joliet would be one, since his only means of transportation is the bicycle he rides around.
Yes. So. The mayor of Joliet, Dennis, had a confession to Al this weekend.
Well, yes. Thursday night at the Joliet Jackhammer game, prior to my...
The Joliet Jackhammers?
Yeah, prior to me almost talking him into being willing to shoot himself out of a cannon to convince him that would win him the popular vote, I unsuccessfully tried to talk him into preparing a JFK-type assassination of the incumbent mayor.
And that's not Jack Effin Koshik either, is it?
No, it's not. It's not Jack Effin Koshik. But then he revealed to both myself and Dave Hero and the entire Roadhouse restaurant there in Joliet that he is a 36-year-old virgin. Now,
Lordy Lord.
To say that I was stunned to find out that our future mayor of Joliet was a virgin at 36 years old was an understatement. But
people confide in you.
Sure, I know it, and he's given me a quest. He's given me it's now my cross to bear to make sure that this man knows the touch of a woman before before I die, at least. So, this cannot go unchanged. It's a slight against all mankind. We cannot let this exist within the brotherhood. So if I have to
you're just hoping the world
gets
better.
Or if I have to purchase a woman or just take the panel van and a bottle of chloroform, he's going to get laid.
It is pretty late at night.
Al Snow, in addition to being in town this Friday, back in Milwaukee, TNA's got a pay-per-view this weekend, Slammiversary, coming to us from Orlando, Florida. Got some big things planned for that, and I think some of the breakout stars right now in TNA wrestling would have to be none other than Ken Anderson, Jay Lethal, Jeff Hardy, obviously, RVD, and more. Care to talk a little bit about what we might see this Sunday at Slammiversary?
Well, I think, not just because I presently am with the company, but really, honestly, I think that they are on the right track. I think TNA is really working hard. From the environment there, it really seems like everybody wants the company to succeed. I really genuinely have a lot of respect for Dixie Carter. I mean, she really is passionate about it and wants TNA to not just succeed, I'm sure, because of her, it being a business for her, that she's invested a lot of time and money in, but because she really seems to care. Right. And, I'm amazed, Hulk Hogan, I swear, I mean, the first day I was there, I mean, he was up at 6 in the morning doing radio interviews and TV interviews and, come right to the building to do, the agent and production meeting, and then, he's working the entire time and doesn't leave. He's the first one there and one of the last ones to leave every TV. So, Eric Bischoff, all of them. I mean, they just they really seem like they want that their heart's in the right place, and I feel very fortunate to get to be a part of something like that.
And you're a bit of a sorry, Al.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to comment on this past week's match with AJ Styles and Frankie Kazarian and Jay Lethal. You mentioned Jay Lethal, but all three of those guys did just such a tremendous job with that match. I told them all that it was probably one of the best matches I've seen in ages.
Is it? Ric Flair was pure gold last week. on TV, and he always has his moments. I mean, he was gold. I couldn't stop laughing.
Flair was on another level.
Are people blinded? You hear so many people talk about, the old people in TNA, the retirement club. But are people blinded by that and thus can't see the talent they may actually have and what they may still be bringing to the table?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the wrestling business is a very, it's probably the most undiscriminatory business, and at the same time the most unforgiving, in the sense that they don't care how old you are, they don't care what you look like, they don't care if you're black, white, Asian, they don't care if you're handicapped, clearly. All they care about is, can you draw an audience? Will people pay to see you? Can you be made into an attraction?
Right.
If that's the case, you're going to get that opportunity to do that. But it's the most unforgiving, too. If you cannot do that, if you've been given that opportunity to do that and you can't, then you'll go away. You don't serve that purpose of being the attraction or helping to sell tickets and help that attraction sell tickets. You won't exist within the business. It's that simple. And the guys have to get people have to get past Ric Flair's age, because quite obviously Ric Flair is an attraction. He's a draw. Hulk Hogan is an attraction, is a draw, and they're helping and giving the rub to younger, less experienced talent in a way that elevates them and makes them even more of a draw.
Al, what do you think the biggest challenge is right now for TNA?
The biggest challenge, I think, is going to just be to stay patient and to stay the course. Not to. It's easy to, panic, I guess, and say, well, gosh, we're not getting the results we want. But the wrestling business is an educational business. It takes time to educate your fans to like or dislike things, believe or disbelieve things, and to perceive your product in a certain way. And, that takes a lot of patience.
And I think that when you look at, especially last week's TNA TV, what I noticed, a lot more storytelling, a lot more attempt at getting that emotional attachment to the product and to the characters, and it really translated well. There was something different about last week's TV, and David Hero, I think, would say over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I really noticed it last week. Something was different. It wasn't in your face slapping you, new guy or new huge angle or gimmick match. Something was different, and it was the overall show flow and the buy-in to the show.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by, it will be, if they can stick to that and stay the course, I think that's going to be the key to their success. I think that's the thing that's been missing from WWE and everyone else. I mean, that's everybody doesn't put it into so much words, but so many casual fans that I encounter all come up and say the same thing. It's just not the same. There's something missing, and I really believe that's what it is. It's just that true, taking the patience to tell chapter by chapter, piece by piece, building the picture puzzle week by week, and not just, here you go, let's just throw it all out there at one time, because, heaven forbid the audience may not have the attention span. But I always say you should never underestimate the level of intelligence of your audience or their ability to be willing to watch and pay attention.
I personally felt that there were just little things that you don't notice with the naked eye that tied up a lot of loose ends with the matches. Just in particular, like Desmond Wolfe and the Orlando Jordan angle, just a little bitty sentences between each other during the match, and it picks up in the camera so the people at home know, Desmond.
Bubblegum?
Yeah, Desmond's like, who's he looking at, me or you? I don't know, and why are you looking at him, and why, little things like that, and it gives Desmond character because he doesn't talk too often, and I like it. I'm really digging TNA right now.
Well,
yeah, that's it's always been a point of contention for me is that, it's not about the action, it's not about the moves, it's those things that you just mentioned, the little things that you realized after you watched it and didn't even pay attention to when you were, but it just made it so much more and made it so much more to connect to and to emotionally relate to. That's why I thought that the match with AJ and Frankie and Jay Lethal was just in with Ric Flair at ringside, and all the interaction between AJ and Frankie and those things, those moments, allowing Jay Lethal to realistically manage to survive that length of time against two guys, and them, and AJ and Frankie playing up the competition and always looking to Ric Flair for approval was brilliant.
It was great.
God, why can't that happen in every single match that everyone has nowadays? Because if it did, we'd have a completely different wrestling business right now.
Well, and this Friday we will see Jay Lethal and Frankie Kazarian, but of course it'll be the 12-man over-the-top rope battle royal between Al Snow and Jay Lethal. With all the different personalities. Then we got ODB versus Tracy Brooks, and the Skull Crusher will be there wrestling as well. And it's a
another Cousin Jack extravaganza.
It doesn't get much better than Cuz, And don't forget the big meet and greet as well. So for
what are you gonna do, Cuz?
So don't forget
the great Kazoo
So tickets just start at $10, and you can go to blizzardbrawl.com for more information.
Cuz, have you seen the billboard downtown? Check it out, dum-dum.
Hey, you know what? Al Snow is actually on a billboard in Milwaukee.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yeah, my career has reached its absolute acme, its zenith, its apex. I am now on a billboard with Baron von Raschke in downtown Milwaukee.
Yes, when you go over the high-rise bridge going southbound, Al Snow and Baron von Raschke to promote Italian Rumble 2.
Really?
Yes.
Friday night, blizzardbrawl.com for tickets. Al Snow, always great to have you on the program. We look forward to seeing you again Friday night here in town.
Wouldn't this actually be Italian Rumble 3? Oh, no, I'm thinking of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Okay, I'm sorry. That was
On that note, thank you, Al Snow, for joining us here on the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Subscribe to a podcast from your favorite show today at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
It's 2010, and we are all trying new ways to get in front of our customers. This is Chad Schultz with Innovative Signs. Are you attending an upcoming trade show as an exhibitor? This certainly is a great way to get in front of numerous clients fast. However, the number one key to gain a positive return on investment is for an effective, eye-popping, show-stopping exhibit. We can help you get people into your booth. What you do after that is up to you. For 3 great tips on how to maximize your trade show experience, contact me, Chad Schultz, at Innovative Signs, 262-432-1330, or visit our website, innovative-signs.com.
Hey, sweetie, what's up to? I'm on this online dating site, Zoosk.com. Oh, let me see. He's cute. That's Brad. He wants to cook for me this weekend. Oh, he can cook for me. Well, here's my dilemma. Check out Kevin's Zoosk profile. He's hot. I know. He wants to take me to the island in his private plane. Oh, I bet that would be fun. This is so exciting.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Hold on tight.
Kevin, what are you doing?
I call this the triple cab.
Okay.
Oh, this is so much fun.
Yeah. I think I'll take Brad up on his dinner invite. Good idea.
Zoosk.com, the online dating site that lets you date the way you want. Whether you want to browse, flirt, or find your soulmate. Choose from more than 50 million members worldwide. Zoosk, that's Z-O-O-S-K. Get started for free at Zoosk.com today.
Time for an oil change.
Trust the pros at Fast Track.
When it comes to the performing arts, what happens on stage is only part of the story. United Performing Arts Fund supports 34 member groups who help keep southeastern Wisconsin alive and vital. Our group's community encores include providing education and outreach to more than 400,000 children per year, keeping high-level talent in the region, and evoking new emotions for people whose lives become richer with every performance they attend. Please donate at upaf.org today. That's upaf.org.
This is a sponsored message brought to you by Tour Books.
the most ancient of human questions, sparks a clash between scientists and fundamentalists in a riveting thriller. I'm Diana Page Jordan. In Blasphemy, Douglas Preston tells the story of a team of scientists on a Navajo Indian reservation who turn on a super collider and make an amazing discovery, which they try to keep secret.
My novel begins with my character, Wyman Ford, who was sent out there by the government to find out what's gone wrong and what these scientists seem to be hiding.
The true-to-life super collider is called Isabella.
Here is a machine that is actually recreating the energy density of the Big Bang.
In Blasphemy, an army of fundamentalists stages a bloody battle over Isabella.
The clash we see now, the creationist versus evolutionist debate, is really, I think, only the beginning.
Preston says he's deeply fearful of people who insist they know the truth.
Novel means new, and the best thing a novel can do, I think, is introduce you to ideas that may not have occurred to you before.
Blasphemy by Douglas Preston. This is a sponsored message brought to you by Tor Books.
Introducing the new Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express. The only charge card that earns triple points on airfare, double points on gas and groceries, a single point on everything else. Points you can use for over 1 million rewards, including travel on any airline, anytime. The annual fee for the first year is on us, and you can earn 10,000 bonus points with your first purchase. Start earning brilliantly. Call 1-800-AXP-GOLD or visit AXPGold.com to apply.
See terms, conditions, and restrictions at AXPGold.com.
This is Phil Hellmuth, Wisconsin native and God's gift to poker. Have an ego, son? And you're listening to 540 ESPN Radio.
Everybody's got a prize.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com. You know what? Special thanks to James D. Cornette, our guest, and Al Snow, our guest as well.
See, TNA was fair, weren't they?
Opinions run
Fair
wild
trade-off.
here on the Pro Wrestling Report, where we're also opening up the phone zone, the number locally here in southeastern Wisconsin, 276-ESPN, or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-ESPN. We're going to take some calls about Monday Night Raw tonight, the NXT Invasion. And
what about Ken Anderson?
What about him? He's a... We can't say that.
Well, he's a something right now.
He's a big something right now. Works better if you red button.
There you go.
Don't tell me how to do my job.
I'm just trying to help you, sir. Clearly, you needed some guidance there.
He's an A double dollar sign hole.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right?
You heard the music when we came back. David Harrow, hot news.
Hot news. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, had neck surgery today to relieve pressure off his neck. Emergency neck surgery.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Can't be pleased. I think that's why
Pain in your neck, man.
Uncle Irwin was on Raw tonight instead of the $1 Million Man.
How do you look with that crown? You enjoyed it.
I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, you meant DiBiase Jr.?
No. Uncle Irwin.
No, I meant
Irwin R. Shyster?
Teddy Jr.
He was there.
No.
Senior.
Oh,
okay.
Senior.
Okay.
Yeah,
easy to get him confused. That's why Kurt Hennig's kid is called McGillicuddy.
Oh, yeah.
That way we won't have that problem going on.
I think that's the other deal.
And I don't mean 3 blocks down the road, McGillicuddy.
Which person or which family's lineage? How do they determine which wrestler keeps their family lineage?
Yeah,
this is just
the
ridiculous.
Rotundo can
bro.
keep his, but
I know.
you know what? Here's what the thing is.
But the Darso kid, you know what I mean.
Right, but here's the thing: when they find out it's really Joe Henning,
then they will.
The problem is the fans will go nuts. High expectations.
Okay, we've done this before. Ted DiBiase Jr. is nowhere near the level of his dad.
Well, and Cody Rhodes.
The towels and the flipping the gum and all that.
I mean, look what happened to Cody Rhodes.
But this is different, bro.
What happened to Cody Rhodes?
I don't know, like Joe Henning's skill level.
Put him over tonight.
I don't know his skill level as a wrestler, but the best thing, or the thing about Mr. Perfect was he was a gimmick, but he backed it up.
Yeah.
So it'd be entertaining to see Joe Henning. He's not trying to be a tough guy like Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean?
Right.
If he's taking on his father's
the
deal,
Brazilian Cody Rhodes.
If he takes on his father's deal, he's going to be Mr. Perfect, and you're going to be amused. He won't bore me, I'm sure.
Did you know that Dolph Ziggler song "I Am Perfection" was originally supposed to be for Joe Henning?
Hey, Dave, could you refresh my memory? What's Cal's favorite song on WWE The Music Volume 10?
He likes the Hart Dynasty.
No, his favorite.
Sheamus.
No, you're something else. You know that over there?
You know what?
That's your new name.
It's
Ben Cycle.
He does
I'm
like
gonna
the
start
Evan
calling
Bourne
you
song.
Bill O'Reilly. No, stop it. His favorite song was the most awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Song
it
on
was
the CD, right?
But now he likes Evan Bourne.
That's fine. People
because he listens to the show and he listens to what his dad says. Even though he should be sleeping right now.
Happy birthday to Mick Foley, who is young 45.
Holy mackerel.
Good news for Jeff Hardy as his
You think
situation.
he was 60 by the way he walks.
Yeah. And sometimes that shirt and short combination he wears gives him 20
makes him
years.
look a lot older.
And Jeff Hardy's situation has changed for the better. Jeff Hardy, most major charges have been dropped against him, and you're not hearing as much about that as you did when he was his home was raided. And
You know what?
was
But
arrested.
when we saw him in Hammond, he told us that the situation would be taken care of, and
he was not at all concerned.
Not at all. He was rather
At all.
relaxed.
Yeah.
It's a big misunderstanding.
Yep. That happens.
That's how it starts.
Ossifa.
If you have money, yeah.
Little information on the Pro Wrestling Report. We want to remind you we are debuting tonight on Blog Talk Radio. Made the move from Talk Show to Blog Talk Radio. So we'll be announcing our new free version of our iTunes subscription in the next few weeks. However, in the meantime, the only way to get the podcast will be through either your existing subscription or through the iTunes application. David Hero, I think we really do need to send a shout-out to what became the PWR Fan of the Week just yesterday.
My goodness, absolutely. Our good close personal friend Mike Plath, who wore his brand new DHHS T-shirt to a TNA house show and posed for pictures with everybody.
But there was one key ingredient missing.
Let's see. Kevin Nash was there. RVD was there. Jeff Jarrett.
Come on, man.
Ken Anderson wasn't there. You're right.
That is one critical piece, but one very important piece that was not there.
Dixie Carter?
I'm going to
Roxy,
say
thank you.
The most important person in a company, in many opinions.
Mr. Carter?
The guy who
is there a
Mr. Is there a Mr. Carter? Mr. Carter. No.
Ric Flair, Hogan weren't there. Bischoff wasn't there.
No. Bigger than Hogan. Way bigger.
PWR Primetime.
We're talking about the Pope, baby.
PWR Primetime and PWR Interactive return this week. We're going to have a Slammiversary preview on Primetime. And let me just say this. You don't want to miss this Friday's PWR Primetime On Demand. If all these cogs fall into place, there's going to be a lot to talk about after that episode airs on Friday, and those are available exclusively on demand at... Did I steal something just then?
You steal a lot.
What kind of pen is that?
Is that your signature?
On demand at PWRshow.com. We're going to get to the phone calls. Glenn in Orlando, Robin, New Jersey, and Dwayne in Detroit. After this timeout, this is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Talk Brewers all day long on 540 ESPN.
Hello, I'm your eyes.
And I'm your nose, with something very important to discuss with you this allergy season.
That's right. Nose and I, we both suffer from seasonal allergy symptoms, so we want to be treated together.
That's why we want you to ask our doctor about Veramist nasal spray. Prescription Veramist, fluticasone furoate, is one medicine that's FDA approved to treat both seasonal nasal
and seasonal eye symptoms in patients 12 and older.
Veramist treats me when I'm runny, stuffy, itchy, and sneezing.
Plus, treats my watery, itchy red eyes. Veramist is one medicine approved to treat all that.
For best results, use once daily. Side effects may include nosebleed, nasal sores, or nasal fungal infection. Eye problems, including glaucoma or cataracts, may occur, so have regular eye exams. Results may vary. Maximum benefit may take several days. Don't spray in eyes.
Talent knows.
All together now, Veramist.
For our seasonal nasal and eye allergy symptoms.
One for all.
To learn more, talk to your doctor. See our ad in health. Call 866-9-VERAMIST or visit veramist.com.
The annual Hail Vision Good Eye Award is back this baseball season. If you'd like to win a free LASIK procedure courtesy of Hail Vision in Brookfield, pay attention to the Milwaukee batter with the most walks each week of the season. And on Tuesdays during the D-List, you'll be prompted to name the player with the best good eye from the previous week. Those who correctly identify the player receive entry to the season-end drawing for a free LASIK courtesy of Hail Vision. For more information on the Hail Vision Good Eye Award, log on to ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Hey, small business owner, that 800-pound gorilla is the Internet, and you're nowhere to be found. Get in the game with Yodel. Today, people go online to find everything from plastic surgeons to plumbers. When you work with Yodel, your business will get found on all the major search engines. Yodel builds your site. Yodel maintains it. Yodel handles everything. All you have to handle is the phone when it rings. Call right now and get a $200 credit. 888-64-YODEL. 888-64-YODLE. Yodel local online advertising. From dentists to plumbers, lawyers to contractors. Your business is our business. Call now for a $200 credit. 888-64-YODEL. 888-64-YODLE.
Men, are you thinking about the health of your prostate? Recently, New Vitality Health products gave away thousands of free bottles of the supplement Beta Prostate. Due to incredible demand, they're giving away more free bottles of Beta Prostate to any new customers who call now. Beta Prostate is packed with plant sterols that support your prostate health. Remember, your prostate affects urine flow, sleeping habits, intimacy, and overall quality of life. Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 salt palmetto capsules in order to get the same natural plant sterols as one Beta Prostate. And if you haven't tried Beta Prostate yet, you can call right now for a free bottle. You only pay shipping and handling. Call 1-800-747-0319. This offer is limited to one free bottle per household. Give your body nutrition that targets the prostate. Call now and try Beta Prostate for free. Call 1-800-747-0319. That's 1-800-747-0319. 1-800-747-0319.
Does Emergency, the fizzy, energizing, immune-boosting vitamin C drink mix, really make you feel good? Adam from Seattle writes,
Dear Emergency, I hate you. Why? Because now I see that you were in a nefarious conspiracy to stop me from using up all my sick days. I can't walk around all full of bouncy bounce one day and then not show up the next. Now, can I? Clearly, you are in cahoots with my manager.
Okay, Adam, glad it's working for you. Emergency, feel the good.
540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at, well, Blog Talk Radio, it looks like, at least right now. Use that link at pwrshow.com if you're listening on the stream, and we'll go ahead and put a Twitter out about that as well. In the meantime, gentlemen, let's begin this conversation with actually, let's go to the phone lines, and let's talk to Dwayne from Detroit on line 3, who wants to talk about Monday Night Raw.
Gentlemen, how you doing?
Hey there, Dwayne.
A few things. Monday Night Raw was so stale up until the NXT rookies came and saved the show. That had to be like the greatest ending on Raw I have ever seen in the past 10 years. It was like on the NWO angle. Like I was on the edge of my seat. My brother called me like, "Man, are you watching wrestling?" I said, "Dude, it's sweet." That was great.
Yeah.
Two things I like. What do you think about Cabal, a.k.a. Low Key, and his pros being Layla and Michelle McCool? And also, what do you think about Shane McMahon taking over TNA? Not doing it and trying to go at his father's neck. I think that would be good. I think he would do a better job in TNA than what they're doing now.
Thanks for that call, Dwayne, out in Detroit. To the first point, Low-Key, Senshi, Caval, his pros are Lay Cool. Is this a rib? What the heck?
This is the first I've heard of this.
But here's the thing, though. Before you make that point, Rashi, if we rewind to 15, 16 weeks ago and our initial discussions about NXT, we'd be in a very different place and having to defend a lot of the slamming we did of it. So I'm going to reserve full judgment on it because I like everything just about that's happened with NXT since it started, and I was not in that position when it started, but this seems, well, it doesn't seem, it's just bizarre, Rashi.
I'm actually offended as a professional that what can they offer a male wrestler, first of all? Secondly,
are you serious?
As JR
they
said,
can offer him a lot.
All right.
Survivor Series
Look here,
1996.
man. With me and wrestling, women and
Layla
sex,
could
they
offer me a
don't
lot.
mix, so that's out of my picture. What can they do to make him a better? This is just.
You're hot, say you're hot.
I'm hot because this man has done so much in this business, and to put him on a television with two girls that I don't know them
make him a
personally,
bigger star.
I don't care about. That's not the point. Well, then do it with another guy in the company that's never been anywhere but just hired off the street. You don't do it
But
with
in
him.
their mind, and as we heard earlier from
I know.
Cornette,
And
he hasn't done anything as it pertains
in their
to
mind.
WWE.
You're right. In their mind. And maybe it's to humble him. Who knows? But it's just, I'm not going to watch.
As far as Shane McMahon and TNA, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
That
Never say never.
No,
July
come
2002, Eric Bischoff became the general manager of
hypotheticals,
Raw.
we can't go.
January 4, 2010, Bret Hart returned to WWE.
First of all, Shane McMahon owns way too much stock
He can't.
in his daddy's
About
company.
$10 million.
Yeah. So there's no
money
way
factor.
it will be a conflict of interest.
Right.
What if Red Auerbach bought the
Lakers.
Yeah, come on.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
He's dead.
What?
What if? Never say never.
That's why it would be interesting.
Thanks for that call out in Detroit. We're going to take a time out. We've got room for one more caller, 276 ESPN, or all over the world at 1-800-990 ESPN. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Since OnStar began, we've responded to over 100,000 automatic crash alerts.
OnStar Emergency Tequila?
Yeah, somebody hit me.
Are there any injuries there?
Yes, I'm hurt.
Okay, I'll get you in touch with the 911 center.
911.
This is OnStar Emergency. I've got a vehicle crash with airbag deployment southbound Interstate 16, just before exit 148. The maximum reported Delta V was 15 miles per hour from the front. There were multiple impacts.
I'm hurt. Y'all got to get somebody out here.
We've got people coming right now.
I'm hurting.
This is OnStar. Services are en route to your location. I'll be on the line till they get there.
With built-in automatic crash response, an OnStar advisor can use GPS technology to locate you and share crash details, which could help save your life.
Got some funny damage, but I think they're okay.
Have the paramedics arrived?
Yeah.
I wish you well and that things work out for you.
OnStar is standard for up to 1 year on 35 Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac models. Visit OnStar.com for service length, details, and system limitations.
You know what 2:30 in the afternoon feels like, right? You're sleepy, groggy, dying for a nap. So what do? Run for the coffee? Grab a soda? But how long does that last before you're back for more? Try this instead. Take one 5-hour energy, then see what the rest of your day feels like. It sure won't feel like 2:30 anymore. Instead of sleepy and groggy, you could be bright and alert without the jitters. 5-hour energy is packed with B vitamins, amino acids, and as much caffeine as a cup of the leading premium coffee. It has 0 sugar, 0 herbal stimulants, and only 4 calories. The 2-ounce shot takes seconds to drink, and in minutes, you're feeling like your old self again. And that feeling lasts for hours. So replace all those afternoon coffees and sodas with one 5-hour energy. 5-hour energy. Hours of energy now. No 2:30 feeling later. Individual results may vary. In a clinical trial, 5-hour energy significantly outperformed placebo on continuity of attention and self-relayed alertness. Neither 5-hour energy nor placebo affected blood sugar or mood. See 5hourenergy.com for more information.
Money talks, and it sounds just like Jim Cramer.
I'm Kramer. Money talks, and sometimes it shouts when the results speak for themselves.
Investors worldwide follow Jim Cramer's advice on TV, in books, and on websites like TheStreet.com. And whether the market's up, down, or sideways, Jim's always hunting down a bull market. And now you can follow Cramer's portfolio at GetCramer.com.
Okay, here's how it works. Every time I buy or sell, I will email you ahead of time. Did you hear me? Ahead of time. It's like, if you can read my mind. My portfolio, fueled by my great research, is designed to deliver success. And I'll share it with you at GetCramer.com.
Today, you can sign up for 2 weeks of free access to Cramer's Picks and Portfolio. Just go to GetCramer.com and enter code word RADIO. GetCramer.com, free today. Go to GetCramer.com, code word RADIO.
Do you know why so many people have trouble learning new languages? Because they make the mistake of trying to learn it when they should just absorb it. And right now, a free demo CD-ROM from Rosetta Stone will show you how. So stop memorizing, stop translating, and please stop doing drill after boring drill, because now you can unlock your hidden language learning potential with the world's fastest, easiest way to learn, Rosetta Stone. We don't want you to take our word for it. We don't even want you to listen to the U.S. diplomats, over 10,000 schools, or NASA, who all believe in our program. We just hope you'll accept our free demo so you can experience the power of Rosetta Stone for yourself. Discover the secret to learning a language faster than you ever imagined. For your free demo, call 1-800-336-2116. Don't try to learn a language, just absorb it. Call 1-800-336-2116. That's 1-800-336-2116.
Get the latest on the pack with Jason Wilde at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Damian Nelson, David Hero, The Kaz, and Skull Crusher Rashi Brown here with you, coming to you from the beautiful downtown Milwaukee Time Warner Cable studios of 540 ESPN. Thanks to our guests from earlier in the evening, Jim Cornette and Al Snow. We went to two different ends of the continent. Sure did. With those interviews.
Both in the same city, but yeah.
That's what you get here on this program. Unshielded views and opinions. Like them or not, that's what they are. And let's go to our last two callers of the evening. Glenn from Orlando wants to talk about tonight's WWE Monday Night NXT. Glenn, you're live.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Glenn.
Let me be the first to say I dislike the ending with NXT.
You dislike?
Because it made them look weak. You have 8-on-1 and then 2 if you count Punk for 10 minutes. Yep. Nobody comes out to help the biggest face in the business.
That was
Brett, no Long, no McMahon. You said that NXT guys got over. How can they get over if they beat on one guy, John Cena, and no one comes out to help John Cena? How does that make him look like a threat?
That was my entire point. Let me cut you off for a second. I agree with you 1,000,000%. I won't say I didn't like the angle, but I agree with you. There should have been 2 guys at the ramp and 6 guys in the ring or something, and whoever comes through the ramp, the 2 guys ambush whoever comes to help. But there should have been something else to get them over. Like you said, beating up on 2 guys does not get you over. But if you'd have beat up half of the locker room trying to get there, then they would have been over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To me, it had a little bit of a rip going.
Yeah.
Because nobody came out. To me, it felt like everyone left the building. It was surrounded.
All right, Glenn, thank you for that call. And a person out there who does not like the active ending of WWE Raw tonight. Let's see what Rob from out in New Jersey has to say. Rob, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Damian, the Crybaby Nelson. How you doing, my friend?
I didn't cry this week.
You sure?
No, Jim Cornette endorsed Cody Rhodes. I'm in a happy place.
Are you sure you want to tease with that wine, Damian? Because I definitely got some for you, dog. I just want to guys let you know that I will be at Casablanca's on Friday to tell you straight to your face that Cody Rhodes is really less of a star than ever before.
Really less.
Yes.
That's putting it mildly.
And Rashi?
Yes.
You don't have to back me up, dog, because I got show back anyway. Okay, because you're getting paid for this anyway. Got
about 30 seconds left, Rob. Got about 30 seconds left.
The hater.
Okay, the hater. Anyways, I don't care if I have to hitchhike. I don't care if I have to sit down on Mick Foley's level to hitchhike myself over to Milwaukee. I'll do that. I'm from Jersey. But I got to say that Raw's ending tonight was just wonderful. It was just well done.
Was it tremendous?
Tremendous. It was probably as good as the 2004 draft. You remember that? When everybody just went to hell. It was just all hell. And that's what I like. All hell at the end of the show.
Rob, got to cut you off right there. Apologies for that. But thank you for calling in. Gentlemen, what a show. What a show tonight. Thanks to Jim Cornette. Thanks to Al Snow. We're going to be back with you on your television screens Thursday. Actually, PWR Interactive returns next week. I misspoke earlier. PWR Primetime, an episode you don't want to miss with a Slammiversary preview this Friday and also this Friday. It's Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, Italian Rumble 2 at the Italian Community Center. Tickets available at blizzardbrawl.com. See Al Snow versus Jay Lethal live.
Black Machismo.
Thanks for tuning in. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.